everybody, Andrew here. I just wanted to tell you guys that this is part 1 of my very long conversation with Danny Saab. Let's get to the episode, shall we?
By the way, it's Supergirl. See? Supergirl.
That's what happens when you touch my stuff.
A Kryptonian girl with blonde hair and a bad attitude. She moved so fast that Lois didn't even know it hit her.
A Kryptonian attacked Lois?
Yeah, right before she came after me. Chloe, not only is she as strong as I am, she can fly.
Whoa. Sounds like we got ourselves a true blue Supergirl.
Kara, Krypton is gone.
What do you mean gone?
It exploded. You and I are the only survivors.
Planets don't just explode, Kral. Guess the humans are right, Kral. Girls do mature faster than boys.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Krypton's Last Daughter, the Supergirl Podcast. This is a very special episode, and I'm your host, Andrew Pinkham. And you're probably asking yourself, why is this episode so special? Well, this episode is a very special episode because I am joined by a very special guest, Danny Saab from the Kara Zor-el Podcast. Welcome, Danny.
Hello, everybody. Hey, guys.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing very well. Danny, why don't we get your history into the character of Supergirl? I don't know if my listeners actually listen to your show or not, so if you wouldn't mind giving your history with the character, I would greatly appreciate it.
Sure, absolutely. Well, basically, I mean, the website's been up since January. I started the podcast, the Kara Zor-el Podcast, back in February. But my history with Supergirl as a heroine in the comic books didn't really. I was kind of a late in the comic book reading industry kind of thing, so I didn't actually get started till maybe, I'd say, a couple years ago. And it was kind of started when I was watching Smallville, and then I saw Supergirl, Laura Vandervoort, on the show during season 7, and absolutely fell in love with her. I fell in love with the character. I always knew the character about her before and about her background and all that stuff, but you know, growing up and like I said, going to high school and all that stuff in college, I wasn't really too much into comic books until I started, like I said, watching Smallville season 7 and saw her. So after that, I started getting the trades and starting to read a bit more about her story, about her adventures and stuff like that. And it was pretty much good timing when the New 52 came out. And I've always wanted to do something with Supergirl. I mean, have a website and a podcast, just because there was nothing really out there much for her. So, and I really thought she deserved something really spectacular. So when the New 52 came out, I figured this would be the best time to jump on board and to start a website and a podcast. And so I did. And basically I've been doing it since, like I said, January and February. I started off just reviewing the New 52 Supergirl, but now I'm basically talking about the Peter David series right now. Then I'll get into the Jeff Loeb series and so on and so forth. So awesome. I'm having a blast doing it. It's so much fun.
Well, I know. I listen to your show, and I'm sure we have a lot of crossover. Being the two Supergirl podcasts on the internet right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I was curious, what's your favorite era of the character?
That's a good question. It's going to be hard to explain because they're all kind of different in little ways. Especially now that I'm reading the Peter David series, and I haven't read it before, so I'm only a few issues into it right now. But it's also a lot different than, say, the New 52 Supergirl.
Sure.
So it's hard to really pin down which one's my favorite, but if I had to choose, it would be probably the New 52 Supergirl. Yeah. Just because I know about it the most. And not to mention, I absolutely love what the writers and the artist team are doing with that series right now. I think they're just taking it to a whole new level.
Sure.
And completely enjoying it for sure.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Caught up myself. actually just today. So it's been a great run this year. I'm looking forward to getting that into you a little bit later on in the show. I was curious, what do you specifically like about the character of Kara Zor-el, aka Supergirl?
I think what I like about the most is the fact that she's not perfect. She makes mistakes. She's innocent. She's sweet, but she's also gullible. She's also she's naive. She trusts people. But I think the biggest thing that kind of really attracted me to her so much was the fact that I think she has all the powers of Superman, for example. But I just don't think she gets the same kind of respect as Superman, and because of that, I kind of grow more to the character that way, and kind of like loving the underdog, so to speak. But no, it's just I've always loved her as a character. I love her backstories, and like I said, I just love her heart and her emotion behind it.
Yeah, for sure. I came on to Supergirl much like you were. I mean, I was introduced to her I've been a fan of hers for a while before even Smallville.
Okay.
But I was really introduced to the character through Superman the Animated Series, and was thrilled when they brought her onto Smallville.
Yeah.
And really, really enjoyed her vulnerability. I mean, like you said, the same powers as Superman, but kind of unsure on how to exactly use them.
Yeah, for sure.
Not sure where she fits into Superman's world, what her
Right.
role is.
Right.
All that stuff, and that's really what I love about the character.
And exactly, and I think what kind of builds on that too is that because of all those things that you just mentioned, she's actually more relatable, I think, to us.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As humans, right? I mean, she's not as above and beyond like Superman or some of these other heroes. I mean, she, like I said, she makes mistakes. She's learning, and she, she's as naive as we all are, right? So, and as innocent. So, yeah.
Do you have a favorite writer or an artist for the character of Kara?
Well, for the artist, I would definitely have to say Mahmoud Azhar, I think. Once again, he's doing a spectacular job, I think, on the New 52. I think anybody would agree with that. I mean, there's been some good artists in the past, definitely in different series, but I think Mahmoud Azhar has definitely taken it above and beyond than any other previous series before that. And as for the writers, it's once again, it comes back down to kind of what you like, because they're all kind of different. I mean, I love what the writing team is doing right now, and where they're taking this character. But I after reading the Peter David series, I kind of really respect what he's done with the character as well too, just because he's taken it to a completely different level. I mean, he's making it so much more darker and much more intense, I think, than any other series before. So if I had to choose one, I would. Even though I haven't finished the series yet, I would probably have to go with Peter David just because it's different than anything that's ever done before.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for me, probably my favorite my artist range, I really, really like Mike Turner, and I really, really don't like Mike Turner at the same time. It's kind of that paradox. I like how he brings Kara's character out, but at the same time, I don't like the whole sexualized version that he brings to her character. Right. I don't like that much at all, and my listeners have very, very well established that I don't particularly care for that whole version of her. I really like what the New 52 artist, what is his name? Assar, is it?
Mahmoud Azhar.
Yeah. I really like what he's doing with Kara's character. I really like his portrayal of Kara's character.
Yeah.
As far as writers, I really enjoyed Jeff Loeb's take on the character of Supergirl. He was the initial one who brought her back after Crisis on Infinite Earths. So
right.
I really, really enjoyed his origin of Kara's character, and his run continuing into the 2005 version of her character. So that would probably be mine. I was curious, Danny, what your history with Smallville was.
Well, basically, I mean, I've watched it since day one, and I've always loved the series. I like when they brought in Supergirl on season 7, I just loved it even more. And I like any other series, you're gonna find a couple episodes that you didn't like, or just ones that weren't so great. But no, I mean, Tom Welling and all the rest of the cast has been spectacular, and it's just been a great show to watch. I love how they introduced some of the Justice League members in there as well too, like Green Arrow and some other ones like Black Canary, so far and so forth. But yeah, it's been a great series to watch. So much fun, and I really enjoyed it right to the last episode.
Yeah, did you watch even the season finale?
I did. Oh yeah, I was on the edge of my seat watching it for sure.
Very good.
Yeah, it was really good. Especially, I love the ending there when
the ending was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think as Smallville fans, we all jumped for joy when Clark actually flew.
Well, the only thing I was kind of disappointed with that was you didn't actually see him fly per se. I mean, basically you saw kind of a body fly up and move Apocalypse and then come back down, but you didn't actually see him fly.
Right.
Which is kind of a disappointment. I know a lot of people felt the same way, but...
Well, I don't know if you remember in the barn after Darkseid hit him, he had that whole... his little clip show, and he was kind of floating there in midair.
That's true, he was. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, that's true.
But, flight for me, when Smallville started, he should have been flying from probably season 3 on, or season 4 on, when he first started flying, but I don't know.
I kind of disagree on that, because I think the fact that they wait till the very end to let him fly kind of just established the whole 10 years, his journey during the whole 10 years. Because I think if you had him fly, say by season 3 or 4 or some of that, but you'd have nothing to build up to in season 10. You know what I mean? So I kind of like the fact that they did that.
Yeah, but there were some instances where it could be considered flight, not flight. That whole debate among Smallville fans, but
yeah.
But no, when they brought Kara's character on in season 7, I thought Laura Vandervoort did a phenomenal job.
She did
with her character, and that's one of my favorite live action portrayals of her character. Mm-hmm. Helen Slater was a great Supergirl in the Supergirl movie, but my favorite thus far is Laura Vandervoort. Now that may change if they do, like we were talking before the show started. You said CW was thinking about doing a Supergirl movie.
Well, yeah, the WB was planning on launching a live action Supergirl movie, which I really hope they do. Who knows what might happen? We're still waiting on the Wonder Woman movie on top of that.
Right.
So, things might change by tomorrow, but right now we start thinking about it. Seriously thinking about it.
What's hard is I don't know if you've seen Avengers or not, but I really wish that that Warner Brothers would get off their duff, and the formula's there for their superhero films, and I don't understand why. This new Batman is it's pretty good, but I'd like to see other DC characters like Batman as well.
Right.
They've done Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Green Lantern was
not well.
It wasn't,
it
wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst I've seen either. So, but
true. No, I completely agree. You're right. The formula's there. They have a slew of heroes that they can do movies for. I just don't know why they don't have much success in that regards compared to to Marvel and Disney, for example. But hopefully maybe it'll start. Maybe next year Superman will start kind of the ball going and get this whole thing going.
Only hope.
That's true. We can.
I'm really a little concerned about this new Superman movie and the direction they're taking with it. I don't know if you follow the news or not.
Bits and pieces, but not really. I haven't. Yeah. I know they're doing a new Superman movie, and I know I've seen the actor. They've got the unit, the outfit, and all that stuff. So it's pretty much the only thing I've seen so far.
Sure. But now you have seen the Supergirl movie, correct?
I have, yes.
What is your opinion of the movie itself?
I thought the script was not very good. I think we mentioned that before the show too. The script was it was just horrible. It was not very good. The story was not very good. And I really think I think it only lasted maybe a few weeks in the theater as well too because of that. I'm not 100% sure, but the only bright spot of the whole entire movie was Helen Slater. And you were mentioning how you were saying that Laura Vandervoort was your favorite live action Supergirl that's been portrayed. I agree. I love Laura. I've seen her in other things that she's done, being Canadian. Her being Canadian, and I've seen a lot of things that she's done before Smallville. But I really think Helen Slater brought something to her Supergirl that kind of Laura missed with hers, and I found Helen just brought a little kind of innocence. She brought a a sweetness to her character. I mean, if you just watch it, you just kind of really melt and fall in love with Helen Slater. Not that you don't with Laura, but Laura has an attitude to her. Portraying her Supergirl, she has that attitude toward her. She has a little chip on her shoulder where Helen Slater didn't.
Yeah.
So the contrast are two kind of different Supergirls, two different eras. But no, I mean, they both did a phenomenal job in their respective mediums for sure.
Well, what I find interesting about Helen's character is she stepped right off of Argo City and right onto planet Earth, whereas Superman grew up on Earth. And Kara, I mean, at times you could tell she was really out of her element and trying hard to blend in, but sometimes wasn't doing a phenomenal job at it. But if you see it, I mean, it's hard. I mean, to step into a brand new culture and try to blend in right away. I mean, it'd be like for me moving from here to Japan or something like that.
No, you're absolutely right.
Where they spoke English.
Right.
So, but no, I completely agree with you. Helen Slater brought an innocence and a very innocent look to that character.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a sweetness look to her. I can't really put my finger on it, but I mean, if you just look at it, you just melt. I mean, she just has. I can't explain it. You have to watch just to understand, basically. But yeah.
But what I found about the Supergirl movie that was cool is they brought Jimmy Olsen in from the first Superman movie. I thought that was really well done. The whole links to the two movies was well done. They cast Lucy Lane's character, who looked like she could have been Margot Kidder's / Lois Lane's sister. That was well done. I mean, the casting was well done, but I mean, you're right about it though. The story was just awful. I didn't particularly care for the villain.
No.
Didn't like the story. I didn't like the fact that Argo City still existed. That bothered me, and the fact that, I mean, in the comic adaptation of this movie, she actually flies back to Argo City, and that's darn near impossible.
Yeah, a little bit.
I have.
Although she did do in the New 52, though.
That's true, but as we have talked, I still have a problem with that. We'll get into that later on in the show.
Yeah,
as well.
For sure.
But
no, you're right. I mean, they had a spectacular cast, I think, in regards to just the names that they had to that movie, right? And that it was a great tie-in with the Superman movies with Jimmy Olsen, for example. But the script wasn't there. The script was just downright horrible, and it's really too bad because they could have really done something special with that movie, and really took it to another level. But unfortunately, because the script wasn't so great, even the special effects, you can forgive them. I mean, back in that time, they weren't the greatest, but they were fine for what they were. But like I said, it goes back to the script and the story itself, and it didn't make much sense.
Well, what was interesting, I don't know if you've read much Silver Age stuff, but they brought Midvale High School into this movie, which I thought as an original callback to the 50s and 60s, I thought that was really, really great in that and that she was an orphan and all that. Have you read much of that stuff, Danny?
I've not too much. I mean, I like some sort of concentrating on the Peter David stuff, but I have read a few of the Silver Age stuff, but not too much.
Have you read her origin story back in like 19...
The Silver Age you're talking about?
Yeah. Her origin back in the Silver Age in like 1950.
No, not yet.
No.
So you're talking about Action Comics 252?
Yeah, that's what I'm referring. Yeah.
I haven't read that one yet.
It's very well done. The origin story is very well done, and it reminded me a lot. I mean, there were a lot of callbacks to Action Comics. 252. Well, Midvale High School, her being an orphan, all that. I thought that was very well done. So I mean, there were some elements to the story that had Supergirl there, and Linda Lee there. And that was another thing. She called herself Linda Lee and not.
Yeah, now Linda Lee, she was part of the Silver Age, wasn't she as well too?
She was. Yep, she was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, that part was cool about it. Just the story just didn't work, unfortunately, too well. But you're right, the rest of the stuff worked really well. How they tied into Superman movies and brought in a lot of the Silver Age comic references and stuff like that. So
yeah. Overall, it was. What would you give it a rating? Like one out of 5?
1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I'd say 2. I'd say give it 2 only because of Helen Slater.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be like a 0.5 or something.
Yeah.
It's just, and I hate to do that because I love Supergirl as a character. It really pains me to do that, but I have no choice. It just didn't. Like I said, it wasn't for Helen Slater. I think it would have even bombed a lot more than it did.
For me, it's a 2.5. I'll belay your point about Helen Slater, but I give it that extra half because of the score. The score was just phenomenal with this.
The score was good, yeah.
I mean, I've got it on my iPod. I listen to it frequently.
Yeah, no, the score was good. You also heard a lot during all the flying scenes too, I'm sure. But yeah.
And that kind of got repetitive after a while. But it wasn't much different in like Superman the movie, for instance.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't much different. I mean, we have to remember this is an '80s movie.
Right.
So, I mean, a lot of the effects aren't what they were, like, for instance, today. So, I mean, they're not going to be. So.
Yeah, and then that's what I'm really I really hope WB does do something with the Supergirl live-action movie today, because I think it would be, if they have the right script and they get the right Supergirl, it could be absolutely phenomenal. You know, and I think the demand is there. I
would agree. Who would you cast?
I need to do it.
Who would you cast in this new movie?
You know, it's funny you mention that, because after I spent this morning, after I heard yesterday that the WB was actually considering a Supergirl live-action movie, I actually spent this morning putting up a poll on my website on KaraZor-el.com, and I wanted to just sort of pull out, okay, who would fans want as a new Supergirl? And maybe put 5 or maybe 10 girls at the most, who I think would be the best. I ended up with 20 names.
Holy.
I know. I just, because, damn you, Google, but I just kind of went nuts. And, there's a kind of certain criteria that you got to look for, right, for a Supergirl. Basically, you kind of have to have the kind of innocence and sweetness that Helen Slater had. The screen presence, I guess you can say, that Helen Slater had. And you also need to have kind of the edginess that Laura Vandervoort had too, because I think for it to be successful in today's mainstream, movies and stuff like that, I think it needs to have an edge. It needs to be more maybe toward like a Peter David series than say Jeff Loeb in the New 52 series. And I know a lot of people have been commenting that on Twitter and such as well too, that if they were going to do a live action Supergirl series, Peter David might be the way to go, just because it's, like I said, it's much edgier, it's much darker, which makes it a lot more interesting. Mm-hmm. So you kind of need an actress that kind of has that range, that can bring that innocence, that sweetness, but also have an edge and a little bit of darkness to her. Sure. So like I said, I came up with like 20 names. Obviously Laura Vandervoort was one of them, because she did such a spectacular job in Smallville. Another one I came up with was Jennifer Lawrence.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, from Hunger Games. I haven't seen Hunger Games. I've seen Jennifer Lawrence in the X-Men movie, for example, and a few other things that she did. And she's a tremendously beautiful actress. She's great at what she does. So I think she can really bring that look. She has that look of Supergirl, and she can also bring the presence, the screen presence as well too, the edginess, and she can also carry a film too, which I think is important.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to be on the edge of your seat, go see Hunger Games. If you don't like suspense, don't go see it.
You know what? It's funny, man. I wanted to see. Here's the thing. I wanted to see Hunger Games. I just never got a chance to see it. I heard good things about it, but I was busy with work and such. I didn't get a chance to see it. But yesterday, I went to see Prometheus. I'm not sure if you saw that.
I've heard of Prometheus.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of horror, so I'm not.
Okay. Well,
I'm not into the whole alien thing, but
don't worry about it, because this wasn't a horror movie anyways.
Oh, really?
You know what? I don't want to spoil it for all your listeners and such, but it just was not very good.
No.
I expected it to be so much better, and I was so thoroughly disappointed in it.
Yeah. That's too bad.
It is. I know. I just mentioned that for we're completely off topic.
This is Prometheus is an Alien, a prequel, correct?
It is. Yes. It is. It's a prequel to Alien, the Alien series. Yeah. So, like I said, I don't know. It was okay. I just expected a lot more, and I was really disappointed because I didn't get it. But But back to what we were saying about the Supergirl. So, like I said, I had Jennifer Lawrence as one. Another one, maybe Hayden Panettiere. possibly, just because she has that look as well, too.
Now, remind me, I've heard the name. I can't place a face.
She was on Heroes. And she's also
yes. She was Claire on Heroes.
So she was on Heroes. Like, so just because she has that look of a Supergirl, but acting-wise, I'm not 100% sure. I didn't watch Heroes too much, but she just has that look. So.
Yeah, I've seen Heroes as a series. It was a good series.
Okay.
She did a lot of good stuff, a lot of not so good stuff. Typical, not very experienced actress. I mean, she'd maybe act in a couple others. But,
right.
I mean, she was good though. I mean, a lot of Claire-centric episodes and she was great in all that stuff. So,
speaking of which, let me ask you something, Andrew. I wasn't too sure about this answer, but when Helen Slater got the role of Supergirl, was she an unknown actress?
I believe she was. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe she was. She. I don't think she had acted in anything.
Wow. Then she didn't really put that. Okay, yeah, I wasn't 100% sure if she had done anything prior to Supergirl. I guess I could IMDb'd it, but I'm lazy. But yeah.
Well, you keep talking, and I'll do that. How's that sound?
Okay. So yeah, so besides, like I said, I had Hayden Panettiere, and like I said, if you go to the KaraZor.com website, there's about 20 names there. I'm really encouraging everybody, all the Supergirl fans out there, sort of go there to vote for your favorite. You can vote more than once. You just have to kind of close your browser, and then when you visit the site again, you can vote again if you like. But just another names that I kind of picked out was ones like Kristen Bell, Maggie Grace. Someone mentioned Anna Sophia Robb as well too, who I've never really seen before, but I've seen pictures of her on Google. She has that look of Supergirl. She's very young. And like I said, it basically depends on which way they want to go with the new Supergirl movie. So if they want to go a little bit older, a little bit younger, what have you.
Now, I'm not familiar with much of the actresses you just mentioned.
Okay, so like I said, Anna Sophia Robb, I'm not 100% sure. I IMDb'd her this morning. I just can't remember where I've seen her. I think she's done some Disney movies, I think, or some Nickelodeon or something like that. I'm not 100% sure on that front. Yeah. Who else did I mention? Kristen Bell. She did. Oh, what movie did she do? Forgetting Sarah Marshall? I think.
I've heard of that movie. I haven't seen it.
Okay, so I think she was in that movie as well too. A few other names as well too, but like I said, a lot of these are. Another one picked was Alice Eve as well too. She was in. She's Out of My League. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Really?
No, I haven't seen it.
Watch more movies, buddy. Come on.
No, I'm just not huge in the romantic comedies, man. So
all right, fair enough. Well, Alice Eve, she did that movie as well too, but.
You are married, so therefore, date night that'd be something you guys could go out on a date night.
Yeah, that's true. You're right about that. But then probably, another big name I think I mentioned was Summer Glau as well too. Yeah. Just because she did the voice of Supergirl in the Superman Batman Apocalypse, and she did a really great job with that. So, but
do you think she could really pull off Kara as
a live action? I think she can, because if you've seen like Firefly and Serenity that she's done a lot of emotional, very emotional movies and TV shows. So I think she could pull it off. Whether or not she has the look, for example, it's hard to say, but she's got a huge fan base, and I think if she was cast as Supergirl, like I said, she might need to have the right script for her to work with, but I think she could definitely pull it off.
Well, if they do decide to cast Summer Glau, they should cast Joss Whedon as the director. Because,
yeah, that would be sweet.
With this past Avengers movie just kicking some serious butt in the box office,
and then some.
And it's known that Summer Glau has a very good working relationship with Joss Whedon in their time on Firefly. I think it's Firefly, correct?
Correct, yes. Yeah.
And to answer your question, Danny, the only thing that Helen Slater was in wasn't a TV special for like one episode.
Okay.
So it was ABC afternoon specials that she was in, and that was, she played in like 1982. But before that, nothing. So she was a very unknown actress, and she really has. has blossomed into quite the actress. Even
good for her. Yeah, I mean, she, like I said, she did a spectacular job with Supergirl, and who knows? Maybe if the WB does go ahead with the Supergirl movie, maybe the best thing to do is to cast an unknown actress, and make her famous that way. So
maybe, I mean, they could do. They could do what they did with Tom Welling. I mean, Tom with Smallville, he was just a model. He had no acting experience at all, and they really groomed him into an actor as Clark Kent and eventually Superman.
Well, I mean, I think the benefit of actually having an actress or actor that's kind of unknown is that they don't actually have a craft yet, right? So, a lot of times when you have a well-known actor or actress, let's say like Summer Glau, for example. Well, if you've already seen her in like all these sci-fi, shows and movies that she's done, if you're going to see her in a comedy, for example, it's kind of hard to really disseminate the two characters. You know what I mean? Because you've already seen her. You already have in her mind as one way. You can't really take her seriously as another, so to speak. So I think the benefit of having a unknown actor or actress is that you can, because they're unknown, no one's ever seen them before, you can adjust her craft to the way you need it for that movie and go with that. So I think, maybe going to unknown maybe would probably be the best idea.
Well, I'm not sure how Summer Glau would actually look as a blonde,
Well, yeah, probably not very well. But, actually, you know what? Funny thing is, I actually had a little bit of fun. I actually, on my website, did kind of play with a little bit of Photoshop, and just because I was bored one night, and I just want to see what she would look like in a Supergirl outfit, and I put her with blonde hair and all that stuff. And you can check it on the website. But yeah, I don't think she'd work too well as at least not as a bright blonde. Maybe as a dark blonde hair perhaps could work, but definitely not bright blonde. But yeah, if you want to check out, go to KaraZor.com. You'll see for yourself.
Well, that was one thing that I found interesting about Helen Slater. I mean, you could definitely tell she was a natural blonde.
Yeah.
So therefore, she had that look going for her.
Right.
So I mean, and it's going to be hard to cast another Supergirl that is like Helen Slater.
It is, yeah,
but,
for sure.
You know what I found cool about Helen Slater is she actually came into Smallville and played
Clark's mom, biological mom.
Biological, I can't think of.
Yeah, and you know what? She still looked good. It was incredible, but
absolutely.
Still was
she
beautiful.
Looked phenomenal.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I really hope one day I actually get to meet her. That would be like a dream come true, I think.
And from all the interviews that I've read, she's a really sweet lady.
Yeah, she is. So. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so see what happens, guys. I mean, if they even do this live action movie, like I said, we're still waiting on Wonder Woman, so who knows?
Now, speaking of Wonder Woman, did you get a chance to even look at the pilot or heard about the pilot for this new Wonder Woman series they were going to do?
I did hear about it, and I actually did watch the pilot as well too.
How was the pilot?
You're talking about the NBC pilot, right? The one that they were going to put on TV?
Yeah, that's the one I'm referring. I saw a clip, and I really wanted to see the pilot, but, I'm not huge on downloading it through nefarious means,
Well, I was kind of fortunate because last year I was in Chicago during the comic book convention, the Wizard World Comic Con that I usually go, that I'm actually going again this year. But I was there last year, and, there's a booth, and they were selling a whole bunch of, movies and Blu-rays and stuff like that from superheroes and different sci-fi genres. And lo and behold, I had a bunch of copies of the Wonder Woman pilot, so I purchased it, and I came home and I watched it. I wish I hadn't.
Well, that's too bad.
No, but it's, you know what? I heard it was bad anyway, so going in, didn't have the highest expectations of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was kind of disappointed. I'm like, it goes back again to, I think, this whole Supergirl movie again too, where the script was just horrible. It's like the ones who did it just didn't really know much about comic books or what have you, and that's really sad. I really wish they would. If you're going to do something like this, have people who know about comic books, who write comic books, involved somehow in the development of your production. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, at least in Smallville, for example, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of times they actually had writers like Jeff Johns and such being part of the production of those shows.
Definitely.
So I think that's what they really need to do. Is, talking about Warner Brothers, when they start coming out with live action shows and movies, they really need to bring a lot of comic book writers into it to help with their production, to make sure they get as authentic as possible to the comic books, or at least close to it. But yeah, I was just not very. The thing is, I really love the actress. I can't remember her name who played Wonder Woman because she was also on Smallville as well too.
Her name is Adrian Palacki.
That's it. Yeah, and she did. I think she was on the finale of season 5. I think it was.
Season
Smallville.
3, actually. She
okay.
actually portrayed what she thought was Kara from Krypton.
Was Kara? Yep, I remember that.
So.
Yeah, and like I said, I like her, but once again, I just did. And I didn't even care about the outfit. She was wearing the new, I guess at the time with the pants and all that stuff. When, the whole controversy with the Wonder Woman pants and stuff like that. So she was wearing that, but that's fine because actually it was funny because she was wearing the pants through maybe 3/4 of the show, and then the last 15 minutes when she was like doing the action scene and kicking butt and all that stuff, she was in her original outfit with the the hot pants or whatever, and the top and all that stuff. So I don't know, but like I said, the script just wasn't very good at all.
Well, I don't think David E. Kelley, who's the showrunner for this show, really got a grasp of who Wonder Woman is as a character. I mean, she's not a businesswoman. She's an ambassador. No. She's an ambassador to Themyscira. Mm-hmm. That's who she is.
Right.
Not this business tycoon. I mean, it reminded me a lot of what Karen Starr is in the Power Girl series.
Mm-hmm.
She's a business mogul who owns Star whatever. I can't even think of the name of the company now. But, I mean, that's not Wonder Woman. So, but hopefully... well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead, it's fine.
But I really do hope they get a Wonder Woman series that's right. And hopefully they'll be able to do a Linda Carter-esque. I mean, that's so iconic as far as Wonder Woman goes. And hopefully someday we'll get that, but I mean that someday is just not today. So. Well,
I mean, it's kind of surprising too because I mean after the success of Smallville, right? You kind of had a blueprint of what it should look like. You know what I mean? You kind of had if they just kind of followed the same kind of trajectory or some kind of ideas as Smallville on the Wonder Woman show, I think they would have been fine. But unfortunately didn't, and then that's why it just didn't do very well. Now. I'm not sure if you know much about the new Arrow pilot that's going to be launched.
I have heard a lot about the Arrow pilot. I'm actually looking forward to seeing it because I've been such a big Smallville fan. I mean, they're not taking the Oliver Queen from the Smallville universe, which was kind of disappointing. But at the same time, I understand that they wanted to separate themselves from that whole Smallville thing,
right?
And not cast the same guy, Justin Hartley, as Oliver Queen. I think it would have been interesting to see a spin-off from Smallville that was a Green Arrow with Chloe Sullivan and Oliver Queen and the kid we saw at the end of season 10. I thought that would have been really, really nice to see. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to seeing this new Green Arrow pilot. From the images that I've seen, it looks really, really good.
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, when I first heard they weren't going to bring in Justin Hartley, I think, for the as Green Arrow again. You're right. I was kind of disappointed. Now I just watched a trailer a couple days ago for the Arrow TV show, and the guy they got was actually, I think, a little bit better than Justin Hartley, just because he has so much more of an edge to him, and that kind of where the show is going with it too. I don't want to ruin too much for the show about you. Too much. I don't want to ruin the show for you guys too much, but. Basically, he's coming back from an island. He's been there stuck for 5 years. He's coming back, so obviously he has a big chip on his shoulder. He's very, he's changed a lot and all that stuff. So I don't know. It looks like a really, really good show. If you haven't seen the trailer for it, I really suggest getting the trailer and watching it. But it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen the trailer. I'm interested. I didn't even know there was one available.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check it out when I get a chance.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely going to be a show worth watching for sure.
Do you think it'll run like Smallville for another 10 years? Is this a Smallville-esque type show?
It is, and that's why I think it will run for the next 10 years because it is kind of similar to Smallville. The only thing I might have against them is the fact that because Smallville, it's Superman, and he's such an iconic character where Green Arrow isn't as much. But still, I think if they do well with it and follow the same kind of ideas as Smallville, which it looks like they're going to do, then I think it'll be fine.
Well, I really hope I know they've cast someone as as Black Canary, and I really hope this Black Canary character will be like not identical to Elena Huffman, because I really like Elena Huffman's portrayal of Black Canary. But I really hope they get the relationship between Black Canary and Green Arrow, and I think they will, because I'm pretty sure they've already cast Black Canary. Am I right?
I think they have. I'm not sure who they got. Let me just find that out right for you right now. But I believe they did cast Black Canary. But I know it wasn't Elena Huffman. But I think she looked still pretty good, anyways.
Yeah. Well, are you much of a Green Arrow fan, Danny?
I mean, I know of the character. I haven't read the comic books too much, but I know of the character. And obviously, I've known him since through Smallville and stuff like that. But that's basically the extent of my knowledge of Green Arrow. Unfortunately. Yeah. And for Black Canary, I actually got Katie Cassidy, who's portraying Black.
Is that a fairly unknown actress? Because I've never heard of her.
She's done some other stuff. I think she was on.
Probably mostly TV, I would imagine.
Gossip Girl. If you ever heard of Gossip Girl, yeah, she was on.
Who hasn't heard of Gossip Girl?
Exactly.
My goodness. I don't watch that show. Thank the Lord, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't have teenage sisters.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't know. So I mean, I've never actually seen Katie Cassidy, in anything she's really done. So it's kind of interesting to see how she plays.
Is she blonde? Do you know?
No, she thinks she's has black hair. Actually, hold on. Let me just double check that for a second. No, she's blonde. You're right. I'm sorry, blonde.
Because
she's blonde.
Black Canary is considered the blonde bombshell. Is one of her nicknames. So. Okay.
No, she's blonde.
I'll be interested to see her portrayal of Black Canary, and I'll be interested to see actually how they do the effects of her canary cry. I really liked what they did with Smallville with Black Canary's canary cry.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So,
and actually, just one thing I want to quickly mention regarding Elena Huffman that you mentioned a few minutes ago. Yeah. I actually had the pleasure of meeting her last year in Chicago when she was at the convention.
Oh, really?
I actually met her and I got a picture with her and everything. And she's actually from the same hometown where I live right now.
No kidding.
She's actually from Ottawa as well too. So
that is great.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's kind of cool.
How was she to talk to? Was she pretty down to earth?
No, she's very sweet, very down to earth, and like I said, we're both from the same place. I mean, she just went to high school, like maybe a couple blocks from where I live right now. So no, but she was a dream. She was really, really sweet to talk to. Definitely.
That is great. And that's gonna do it for part 1 of my conversation with Danny. Come back next month for part 2. Until then, as Danny says, keep Kara flying strong. You have been listening to Krypton's Last Daughter, a Supergirl podcast, hosted by me, Andrew Pinkham. Supergirl, as well as all other characters I talk about on the show, as well as any music I use, are copyright their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended. The website for this show is supergirlpodcast.wordpress.com, where you will find the RSS feed, the podcast, the iTunes link, and a whole lot more. The email is supergirlpodcast@gmail.com. And let's face it, guys, I love lots of emails, so don't be afraid to write in, alright? You can also like the Facebook page. Just type Krypton's Last Daughter into Facebook, or check out the website for more details. You can also follow me on Twitter. I'm at KLD Podcast. And if you would, as a huge favor to me, and leave an iTunes review, I would really appreciate it. And I'd give you a shout out on the show. That's a personal guarantee from me. The opening theme, The Rule, as well as other original music, is written and produced by Kevin McLeod. Supergirl is created by Otto and now Plastino. Thank you for listening, and come back every month for Krypton's Last Daughter, a Supergirl podcast.
To be honest, I'm not sure I've earned the right to wear this uniform. But I will.